And we used to distribute sweets and give gifts to the kids and spend time there. And I always used to think that why we don't do this more often. We should. Tech was important for me because I always think if I build something, it has to scale. And scalability comes with tech. So if you
Mhm.
don't get up every day thinking about, I'm excited about this, then the whole market will not motivate you enough.
Yeah.
People are attached to their things and they want to give it to the right people. And they will go extra mile for that.
Mhm.
If we donate something, we extend the life of these goods by at least 9 months to 1.5 years, right? So
Mhm.
people do understand that leads to reduction of carbon emissions, water footprint, waste footprint.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sustainably Curious. It's a podcast where we speak to entrepreneurs, builders, and operators in the sustainability space and uncover their journeys and learn a bit about sustainable habits that we can incorporate in our daily lives. Today, I have a very special guest, Anushka Jain. She's the founder of Share at the Doorstep. And just a personal note, we wanted to declutter our home for over a year, but couldn't figure out how. And every time we thought about doing it, something or the other would come up. But in February, me and my wife decided that let's figure a solution for this. And I spent some time on Google, discovered Share at the Doorstep. I had a really great experience. I was able to book a slot instantly, and within a couple of days, we were able to declutter our home, give away old clothes, which the startup donates to NGOs on their side. I was really amazed at how super fast it was. The experience was seamless, and that piqued my curiosity to reach out and speak with Anushka Jain. Great to have you here, Anushka, and kudos on building the startup. Would be great to just get started with your introduction. So feel free to introduce yourself, and we can jump into the questions after that.
Thanks, Samod, for using our service and sharing your feedback. I think it's always good to hear from customers directly, good or bad. It always helps us to grow. So I'm Anushka. I'm founder of Share a Doorstep. And I think how I want to introduce myself generally is what I'm doing besides work as well. So I love doing yoga. I love a little bit of golfing and anything which has to do right now with climate, tech, AI, carbon credits. That fascinates me right now.
Awesome. Great to hear about those. And golfing is pretty interesting. And that's something that I want to pick up here as well. We'll dive into your early journey with Share at the Doorstep. What sparked your interest in the sustainability space? And maybe go back in time and walk us through how it all started.
Sure, yeah. So when we started this, I think sustainability as a word, I might not be aware of it. It started with a very simple insight. My mom used to take me to the NGOs on my birthday. It used to be
Mhm.
like a yearly ritual. And we used to distribute sweets and give gifts to the kids and spend time there. And I always used to think that why we don't do this more often. We have so much stuff, which my mom used to buy a lot of toys and all, which we don't use that much. And I was like, why we are not decluttering and donating more often? I realized that it's about the convenience part of it. She's generally busy. And generally, that time, the NGOs used to be in the outskirts. So we really have to drive a lot and go there and spend time. So it used to be fun, but not that convenient. And I felt that there has to be an easy way to do it. And this thought was with me, but with no action. And when I was in college learning how to make business plans in third year and get some extra money by doing that, in competitions. I had different ideas, and one of them was Share a Doorstep. And I took part in different business plan competitions to think about how this idea can be like a viable business. So the idea was simple. We want to make it easy for people like my mom to donate anything reusable. We have a lot of disparity. We know people require these items and people have a lot of these items. So how can we balance it with tech? Tech was important for me because I always think if I build something, it has to scale and scalability comes with tech. So that was the basic premise. And yeah, so it started with like a very simple website, which I made in Wings at that time. It was a pink colored website. And I just put it out. And to my surprise, I was in Bangalore that time and just joined Accenture some time back. And the requests started pouring in. So it was not like no product market fit, nothing I've learned that time. Just requests started coming in because people were looking for the service. And we got like around 100, 150 requests, which I
Mhm.
fulfilled myself and figure that there's something out there.
Awesome. When was this? Which year?
2011 and 12, this was the
Oh,
idea
okay.
when I was
Yeah.
trying to figure out something and I joined
Mhm.
Accenture just after
Okay.
college. And I was tinkering over the idea on how it can be a business.
Got it. Really amazing and inspiring to learn how the idea took root from your childhood and you sort of pursued that. And you mentioned it was just you executing. So walk us through how 100 people get to know this. The early days are always really memorable. So any stories from
Yeah.
that time on how it actually came to fruition?
Sure. So that time they were not enough startups. So if
Yeah.
you put something out there, it's easy to discover for people. So we don't have to do a lot of SEO because people are not fighting for the same space. So
Yeah.
very easy time, I would say. And
Mhm.
everyone in Bangalore ecosystem, from founders of unicorn founders, which you see now have become unicorns, that time they were very approachable. So you just send
Yeah.
them a message on LinkedIn, they'll be approachable. I think initially when I did the initial 150 request, that was very easy because I put out the website
Mhm.
and it has the basic keywords of donate clothes and all that. That's how people got it and started pouring in requests. It was a free pickup that time. And I was trying to meet these people and talk to them to understand
Okay.
their mindset
Yeah.
on why they're doing it, what's the motivation behind it, to learn if it is the same case as my mom or different.
Mhm.
Many of them were very different cases on why
Yeah.
people donate. I learned so much like why people donate stuff. And it was very fascinating and learning experience for me. And I think from there, it was the question on how we can scale and how we can leverage the Bangalore ecosystem is actually the best place at that point of time, I felt. Now every place has become a hub for startups. But that time,
Correct.
it was
Yeah.
Bangalore. So I think the energy of Bangalore just helped in getting further.
Yeah.
On the story front, I think the first pickup I remember when we did,
Okay.
and it was that was like a learning experience as well. First or second, I'm not sure, but yeah. So I'll tell you both actually. The first
Sure.
one,
Yeah.
so we did together with the same car. We were going to both the ones. First one I had where I had the donations with me, and my friend who was helping me out also had some donations, and we picked it up. And my friend said, "Let's take a picture of yours as a founder and like a
Yeah.
video." And he
Okay.
was taking it, and then the dog who was coming towards me, and I
Mhm.
left everything and I ran away. So that is my
Okay.
first video, picking up items, and it was very funny. Donor was laughing. The second one, which we did the pickup, was we did the pickup, and it was very far away in Malpalli, and we started
Okay.
from
Yeah.
Koramanga, and too much
Uh-huh.
traffic. So
Yeah.
by the time we picked up, it was like really we were done, and we were using public transport to go there for
Okay.
the second
Mhm.
pickup. And I didn't anticipate on how to plan for it. So we thought
Yeah.
we'll just carry and bring back in a bus, which is not possible. So we were there and they were like, okay, we are here. And the donor felt really bad that these two people have come with no planning on how to take it. And he's, let me help you out. Let me book a Meru for you. And that time
Okay.
Uber was not there. So he booked
Yeah.
a Meru for us. And that was our first paid pickup. Somebody paid for our service. But it was a very good experience because we learned so much on why this person was donating.
Yeah.
I think those two stories I remember.
Really amazing. And yeah, I would love to know like what have been some of the learnings of the years on why people donate. To give you my own example, it was mostly I think like decluttering or having a organized home leads to better life and so on. So also there is a habit of if let's say things just pile up, you want to buy newer things because we discovered so many clothes that are still like we can wear and with some small
Yeah.
minor alterations. So doing this entire exercise itself led us to maybe purchasing less in the future. So that was my
Yeah.
reasoning. But yeah, I'm curious to know what are the different buckets that you've come across?
Sure. I think, yeah, you are not minority, I would say, your
Yeah,
bucket, where
yeah,
people are doing it for, say, having a better, less cluttered space or like stress-free space, etc. I
mm,
think first biggest category are the moms who
mhm,
actually donate a lot of toys, kids stuff and all.
yeah,
They use our service very often because every
okay,
2, 3 months they have something to donate.
correct,
They
yeah,
also teach their kids on how to give back. And we
hmm,
have actually interviewed a lot of moms and learned that since the kids in this generation have access to a lot more as
yeah,
compared to what their moms had. So they
hmm,
want to give these values to the kids.
very
So
nice,
they
yeah,
involve the kids in the process. We also have certificates which we give to the kids sometimes if they have their first
nice,
pickup with us,
wow,
like a young change maker certificate. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
think those are the main category, 60 to
okay,
65%, I would say.
got it.
Then the second category is people who are moving out or moving in and they
Hmm,
want to get rid of the items very quickly, but in a
yeah,
responsible manner. So
yeah,
they donate almost the whole house, 2 BHKs, 3 BHKs, and donate everything together. And the third category is in which you are categorized, in which people
okay,
who are sustainable want to change their lifestyle towards giving, having more sustainable choices, stress-free home, clutter-free home. And the fourth one are the people who are changing something, interiors, having a life event,
mm,
just got married, just had a baby. The grandparents have moved in with them, so they want to donate the stuff of
Yeah,
the grandparents' house, etc. So
got it.
anyone who has
Yeah.
changes in their life, they generally take part in this.
Yeah, very interesting insight. I wouldn't have thought those five categories would exist. Coming to like back on the early days, right? Did you face any skepticism starting out a company in the sustainability? Like you said, sustainability was probably not even a buzzword. So you were on a path less taken by people. How did you handle, or like, what did you feel like at that point? And at times when you were feeling like, are you even doing the right things? So how did you go about that phase?
I think self-questioning was not a problem for me because my parents have put so much confidence in me since childhood that it
Yeah.
was just very easy to think that what I'm onto is good in a way that it gives me happiness because I feel very strongly for it.
Hmm.
So what I learned from my parents or like from my dad who used to give me business advice is like market is one part of it, but what
Yeah.
motivates you is the other part. So if you
Hmm.
don't get up every day thinking about I'm excited about this, then the whole market will not motivate you enough. I knew that even though there was no reference market or something to compare, I knew this is something which is something I want to explore.
Yeah.
So I never questioned that part of it. But I think, sorry, I forgot the second question.
Did you face skepticism around that time?
So I think sustainability is the afterthought for people. The first thought was, I want to do something good with the items which I have. We have expanded to Singapore and London as well. I think the mindset on why people donate is very different. In
Hmm.
India, it's very emotional driven.
Yeah.
People are attached to their things and they want to give it to the right people. And they will go extra mile for that.
Hmm.
Have the items go to the right hand because of
Yeah.
the emotional reason. So I think it was the wish to do something good. I think everyone wants to do good.
Yeah.
They just sometimes can't find convenience. So if they want to do good and you put convenience to it, they will do good. I never felt that people are questioning why you're doing it. It was easy product market fit when we started.
Yeah.
On the charging why you pay for the service, I felt
Hmm.
it'll be difficult. But
Okay.
to my surprise, it was something which was very obvious step for people to accept.
So there is obviously two sides to the startup, right? There is the NGO partners side of things and also the users who would book. So it's a chicken and egg problem. So what part of it did you solve first? Did you tie up with NGO partners first? And how did you go about that?
Yeah, I think that took a little bit of time
Mhm.
because I was an Accenture that time. So I was
Yeah.
involved in their CSR events. So we used to visit the NGOs. And that's how I came to know about the NGO ecosystem, business plan competitions, and all these awards which are happening. The
Yeah.
good thing about that is not just the recognitions, but the network you get from there.
Hmm.
So they assign you mentors. So one of the mentors assigned to me was Rashtroka Fellow. So
Got
he
it.
helped me with the initial connection of NGOs. If you deliver to the NGO every Sunday
Yeah.
or Saturday and they see you coming before work, I
Yeah.
think they know that you are onto something. So the NGO ecosystem is
Okay.
very helpful that way. I think we
Yeah.
got the initial three, four partners that way. I told them,
Hmm.
I will deliver donations to you. Tell me a
Yeah.
requirement. So it was an Excel sheet matching. And we
Okay.
used to
Yeah.
get people to donate. So initially I was doing the pickups myself. But
Mhm.
with time, I got to involve volunteers from IIM Bangalore,
Okay.
Christ University, and all these students who were helping
Yeah.
me. So we picked up
Okay.
around 10,000 pickups through volunteers only. And
Very
the
nice.
NGOs
Yeah.
receiving donations. NGOs came first and then the people came.
Got it. And over the years, what did you discover in terms of the best way to reach people? So I think NGOs you've tied up, and then there's word of mouth, obviously, I discovered through Google search. What has worked as a channel for you to reach more and more people?
Yeah, I think Google search is more if you have a service which people are searching for,
Yeah.
and you are lucky enough that you have a good SEO, then I think it works really well.
Okay.
And I think if you are doing the right things, people just talk about you. So word of
Yeah.
mouth was really big for us. We have people who have used your service and all their relatives have used our services in different cities. So that's very common. Then we
Yeah.
were like a talk of the town in kitty parties because
Yeah.
people talk about how I use this service and it helped. So I
Got
think
it.
it was more a word of mouth and Google search.
Yeah. And I read somewhere that you also partner with brands. So how does that work? And maybe before that, you can share like three or four lines about the startup, what it does today, like in the current form.
Yeah, so it's a tech platform. People
Mhm.
can donate anything reusable from clothes, shoes, toys, books, furniture, electronics, anything which you feel someone can use. And how it works typically, you make a booking on the website. The items are picked up at the appointed slot and goes directly to the NGO. The matching algorithm matches donations with the requirements of the NGOs in real time. And they go there and the person is notified which NGO it has gone to. So it's end-to-end transparent that way and people are aware. On the brand side, there are two programs which we run. One is for corporates for employee engagement. So companies like LinkedIn and Amazon, they do collection drives either at the office or
Okay.
they have the home pickup for the employees. So you can avail
Got
a
it.
home pickup if your company is sponsoring it, and you'll get a free
Yeah.
pickup in that
Okay.
case.
Yeah.
And then we work with take back programs like we're working with Deerflex, Sleep Company. We work with Mini Club and other brands like fashion, toys, and all the consumer brands basically. They
Hmm.
want that each time you buy something, you might have something which you're not using anymore. Why not donate it?
Yeah.
So they
Okay.
sponsor the pickup. So each time you
Okay.
buy a new mattress, you can donate or discard or recycle the old mattress. So that's how the model works for take back programs.
You mentioned that corporates also sponsor. So are they sponsoring a particular campaign or drive, or it's like a year-long sponsorship with them? How is it structured with the companies?
So most of the companies do have as a core value that each time you buy something, you can donate something. Some
Yeah.
of them do it on regular basis. Some of them do it only once a year or twice a year. Others do it like as a core value of the company.
Yeah.
With corporates also, a lot of them do it quarterly. So every
Okay.
quarter they'll have a drive either
Yeah.
at office or a home pickup, which people can avail from home.
Got it. Cool. And what's the scale today? Like, we covered the early journey, but where are you today in terms of how many households and how many NGOs have you partnered with?
So we have close to 2.5 million user base households
Wow.
across the two countries. London, we have just expanded, so we don't have
Great.
much there.
Yeah. Yeah.
In terms of NGOs, we have around 35 NGO partners here in India. But in total, including
Yeah.
all of them, around 220 to be precise.
Wow. And was it easy or difficult replicating the model across cities and countries? Or what are some insights on what's same and what's different when you expand?
I think easy, obviously, is like a very relative term. I think I will
Yeah.
call it easy, but there were a lot of roadblocks, but not
Hmm.
as much as someone will anticipate. Singapore was an easy geography, I would say, because
Okay.
less time difference, and also you're aware much about the same Asian culture, so you know how the
Yeah.
market works, what
Hmm.
kind of platforms work there, people still use WhatsApp there,
Yeah.
and what kind of age group should we target. For London,
Hmm.
I think there were a lot of surprises for us. What
Okay.
kind of age group actually makes a booking or
Uh-huh.
searches for donation stuff is very different from what we have seen in India and Singapore.
Okay.
And in terms of what channels they use, people don't use WhatsApp there. They use Messenger, Facebook Messenger,
Facebook
which is
Messenger.
not very
Yeah.
common
Yeah.
in India
Correct.
and
Correct. Yeah.
Singapore. And they use iMessage. So I think a lot of changes which we have to do. But
Yeah.
I would say it was comparatively easy for us to scale
Mm.
because it is service which is very plug and play. We don't
Yeah.
require warehouses.
Okay.
We are basically dependent on organic search. Be there and exist and do
Yeah.
good work, and
Yeah.
people just start using.
Got it. And was it a conscious call to not have warehouses, or did you even explore like a warehouse option at some point?
So there are all these NGOs where we can go and drop off. We
Yeah.
have partnered with them, so we
Mhm.
deliver to those NGOs.
Okay. Got it.
So we
Yeah.
figured that NGOs are already having warehouses, so we don't have to do it. We did
Yeah.
start with like a small, I would say, a place where we were building and having our own logistics team, everything. And
Mhm.
one of my mentors was in e-cart's initial journey, so he was
Okay.
helping me
Mhm.
out on how to
Mhm.
work on logistics, reduce the cost and all that. And he was like, "Okay, now you have learned. Now automate everything. This is not required." And I'm like, what? He was like, yeah, you can't build your own e-cart, right? So
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
to make a company which is very different from e-cart. So yeah, so I realized that this is the time to scale. The
Mm.
mentors actually helped me a lot in this journey because you don't know when to switch, right?
Yeah.
Because I would
Yeah.
have been doing the same thing and would have not scaled. We were just
Yeah.
in Bangalore. And
Mhm.
once we have learned everything in Bangalore, he was like, now it's time to go to 8 more cities together.
So when you started, you were in Bangalore, and how many years did you spend operating in Bangalore before deciding, okay, let's add one more city?
So 2014, we registered the
Yeah.
company. And
Okay.
14 to 16, I think it was just like Bangalore and trying to explore other cities like Delhi and all that, but not
Yeah.
much. I
Okay.
think once all these companies like Dunzo,
Mm.
Porter, all these came in, and Dunzo was the initial one who was our partner.
Mhm.
Around the time when they were expanding, we expanded with them. So when
Okay.
Dunzo
Understood.
moved to
Mm.
different cities, expanded to all the cities
Okay.
before pandemic.
And do you have like teams on the ground, or is it like a central team that sort of coordinates across India? Initially, it was just you, and then you grew. How did you grow the
Yeah.
team as well?
So I was in Closure in 2014, which was
Yeah.
my previous company. So I was working with them and learning how to build a company. It was Excel
Hmm.
funded company. I was their fifth employee. So learning everything on the ground on how companies are built. I learned from
Yeah.
there, marketing, sales, everything.
Right.
So 14 to 18, I was with them and
Okay.
learning on how to do it. 2018, we got like some major clients and we
Yeah.
had enough revenue in the bank to take it full time. I had a few other people that time who were working with me. One of the person who was the third employee in Kyoto also is working with me and
Nice.
he
Yeah.
handles tech. So we
Hmm.
were like the core team members in the starting, and then slowly we hired people from our network or through our references, and we grew to 12 people team.
Yeah, I'm curious to know any interesting anecdotes on the customer side in terms of donations that you remember from over the years. Anything that you'd like to share?
There's so many actually, but I'll tell you a recent one from Singapore. Actually, two. I can give two actually. One I'll get from India because it's a good context. We have seen multiple instances when a woman will actually make a booking and assign this task to their husbands to take care of it while they're away.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think so many times they'll end up giving her Amazon parcel to us as donation
Uh-huh.
without checking what they're doing. And then we have heard like the husband getting scolded on a call with us. But how can you not ask people from where they are coming? Because she might have assigned like Amazon parcel return along with donation. And we have like really heard like really get a lot of men getting scolded over calls. So we have fun recordings of that. That's really funny.
Nice.
But yeah, also show the responsibility of how well responsible Indian men are in these tasks. Uh,
What about
and
the Singapore?
Singapore one was like one of the girls, she donated her new Jimmy Choos us by
Yeah.
mistake with
Nice.
all the
Okay.
other clothes. And after 3 months, she realized it when she has to like wear it for a wedding or something. And she was like, "Oh, I donated my Jimmy Choos, which are like new $1,000 or maybe more Jimmy Choos." And because the segregation had already happened
Yeah.
at the charity side, so we couldn't return that. And she was okay as well somehow. She was like,
Okay.
"It's
Yeah.
okay. It was not meant to be," but it was really funny and how just a small organizing problem can do that. And she was like, "Now I'm going to have more motivation to be more organized because now it costed me
Nice.
money."
Yeah.
So
That's a good takeaway from that experience.
yeah,
And yeah, like any heartwarming feedback that you've received from donors or NGOs.
yeah, I think whenever we receive pictures from NGOs, which is not
Mhm.
that often, but sometimes they do it on monthly basis or
Yeah.
quarterly basis, share some pictures. I think this is
Mhm.
always good to share with our team members at least because it feels like really good on what we are working towards.
Yeah.
Most of the NGOs do have privacy policies, so we generally don't put it out there
Mhm.
on our social media. But yeah, it's good for us for motivation that this is what we are making an impact at. I think one use case which I learned was there was this manual treadmills. Now we
Mhm.
don't have them much, but I think there was a time like 10 years back when people used to have manual treadmills a lot. And there's a very good use case of it at the NGOs where they help them with therapy
Okay.
for
Yeah.
walking. When people are suffering from cerebral palsy or something similar, where they want training. And I think those manual treadmills were used for that. And we were not aware that we can even accept them. And we found a
Mm.
really good use
Okay.
case of it. And the
Very
NGOs were
nice.
really happy that they were able to get this and save some budgets for the thing because they
Nice.
were getting it for free.
What's your vision from here, whether it's product wise or geography or even impact wise? What's next?
So I think so far we have been working on so how I say it like you have a tap which is open, which is giving away all this water. So right now what we are doing is taking care that this water is used properly, right? Whatever
Mhm.
is out there, can we use it properly? But
Yeah.
someone has to close the tap.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it'll just keep on coming. So we are working on closing the tap now. So
Okay.
we have few workings with brands on giving feedback to people to how to do this better. How can we nudge brands towards doing better? But now with
Mhm.
AI, I think it has become easier. We're doing a pilot in which we will have AI agents which will check. So how currently we sort is all items are sorted in terms of if they're good or bad and go in different
Mhm.
projects, right? What we are
Yeah.
trying to do is trying to have data on what people are donating and how they're donating what's the quality of item. So imagine if every t-shirt which we get, we
Yeah.
can give the feedback to the brand, tell them that you're this portfolio, 2023 portfolio, this t-shirt is in this condition,
Mm.
and we
Mhm.
can give this data back to them. They can make better decisions on what to manufacture and how to
Yeah.
manufacture and what is not to be manufactured at all.
Correct.
So we are trying to make it all data driven, what people are trashing, what people are donating, and
Mhm.
give that data back to the industries, different industries, fashion, toys, manufacturing, etc., and tell them how to do what to do, what people are
Nice.
preferring in different
Yeah.
geographies.
Awesome. That's a great feedback loop to close. On that point, I have a question. What are people donating? Is it like broadly, is it clothes, electronics, or do you have a split of what people usually donate?
Sure. I think main is clothes, obviously. It
Uh,
has around 45 to 50% of clothes.
okay.
Then I would say 15 to 20% is toys and stationery, which
Okay.
generally comes from when kids are
Yeah.
involved. And then we have a huge amount of furniture and
Hmm.
electronics, which people donate when they are moving out, moving in. So that's, even though the quantity of that will be lower, but I think in terms of carbon emissions, in terms of volume, that's much bigger.
Yeah.
And then the miscellaneous items like sports equipments and kitchenware and all that is the miscellaneous items which we get.
Got it. Okay. And yeah, curious to understand like how the consumer behavior is changing, like from the time you started to what you see now. What are some behaviors that you are happy about, or are you seeing as a positive change that's coming about right now?
Yeah, I think so much has changed. We have seen the whole cycle of people moving towards sustainability. So now people, as I mentioned, it was an afterthought for people, but now it's like a first thought why people are donating. So they do know the effect of us donating. If we
Mhm.
donate something, we extend the life of these goods by at least 9 months to 1.5 years, right? So
Mhm.
people do understand that leads to reduction of carbon emissions, water footprint, waste footprint, but also it means that you're utilizing these items which are manufactured with so much effort, time, resources to the right
Yeah.
duration. People do understand this now, which was not the case earlier. Earlier, it was like a nudging journey for them, I would say. Once they donate something, we used to tell them that how much impact it has made. And with
Mhm.
that, they were nudged towards, okay, I can take some more actions in my life. So
Yeah.
I feel it is like a first or easiest action which you can do
Mhm.
if you give away the items which you have lying around
Yeah.
and give them in a responsible manner. So this is
Mhm.
starting of a sustainability journey. But I think now people are more aware, they're taking more actions. We were nudged to start something on recycling. We started
Mhm.
recycling option as well for e-waste. So that was coming from people. And the third one was having pets donation, like something for pets. So most
Yeah.
of the families who have pets now, they want to donate something for the pets which are in the NGOs and support them.
Yeah.
So we
Mhm.
started something like that. We are in Mumbai and Delhi for Paw It Forward. So where
Okay.
people can
Mhm.
donate something for dogs and cats, and it will go to the NGOs which supports
Got it.
adopted dogs and
Is
cats.
it there in Bangalore as well?
We'll
If
start soon. We're exploring the
sure.
NGOs. It's a little
Okay.
more difficult to have for cats and dogs right now
Yeah.
because there's much more mapping, but Bangalore is
Mhm.
the next geography.
Okay. Cool. Looking forward to that. One other question that came to mind was during COVID, obviously a lot changed. So, what did you see at that time? How did you adapt to the situation? What was your journey during that phase? Every business had to transform significantly to serve the consumers at that point.
I think, yeah, that time it was more, the focus was more on how we can help in the situation rather than like how we can go to the same level. We just
Yeah.
launched with our heavy pickups that time in other cities, and
Mhm.
this happened. And I was like, we were obviously 1 month, we were like in trauma. What
Yeah.
happened?
Mhm.
And then we were like, okay, we are at the place where we can help people. So we started with this virtual classroom campaign. We partnered
Mhm.
with Cashify. We collected all these dead phones which are lying around at people's houses, send them to
Yeah.
Cashify centers. Cashify then refurbished them, and it went to the NGOs because NGOs wanted the same kind of phones. It cannot
Mhm.
be like one iPhone and one Android. They want same kind of phone for
Yeah.
all the kids so that the app can work. So that was one of the
Got it.
initiatives. The other one was the home pickup for employees. So employees can donate something from home because they were working remotely. Employee engagement initiatives where people can donate from their home, no matter where they
Mhm.
are across the
Got it.
country. So we started those kind of initiatives.
Got it. Great. This has been amazing. Thanks so much. I have a few rapid fire questions. Curious to know some sustainability habits that you have inculcated in your day-to-day life. If there was one that you had to call out, what would that be?
Oh, I think there are a lot of them. I think I was on a very zero level when I started. And I think with time, I've become more mindful, but still work in progress. I think
Mhm.
one thing I try to do is use my clothes as often as I can, whatever I
Mhm.
have. And I have a
Yeah.
lot of clothes already. So I try to use them more often. So repeat your clothes more. I think that's something which we all can do easily. Yeah. And other things is like try to be more mindful on what all you're doing. I think in day-to-day life, just be more mindful on what habits do you have and
Mhm.
just question when you do them. I think that just puts you in a place where you are at least mindful of every action you're taking. But it's
Yeah.
always work in progress. And yeah, it's a journey.
Yeah. No, totally resonate with using clothes or reusing items that are there. So easy to just discard, but with some
Yeah.
effort, you can just alter it or get it fixed and you can use it. Any book or quote or a person that inspired you? Anything that you would want to recommend?
Recently, I read this book. It's on climate. It's called Case of Climate capitalism. I think that gives a good perspective on what's going in the world. I would say
Hmm.
generally don't have a single book which I recommend. I like a lot of books like Tools of Titans, and there are a lot of
Yeah.
known books which are like Atomic Habits and all. But I think what I feel that every time you read a book on climate, you learn
Hmm.
or get a little bit closer to what's happening. And yeah, just reading about it, learning about it, and learning from the experts on what's going on just helps
Yeah.
you understand how big is the problem
Yeah.
and can you do some part of it to help.
Got it. Awesome. Last question
Like,
for you. What would you tell your younger self if you had to give advice?
I think my younger self gives me more advice as an adult. I
Yeah.
always say
Yes.
that I have my 8-year-old version with me each time I have a boardroom meeting because I think the younger version of me is more intuitive and
Hmm.
wiser in a sense that has not been jaded by the external
Yeah.
market, how's the market, how's this. So I would say I always take advice from the younger self. So if I have to give advice to the younger self is like, yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. I think you
Nice.
know much
Yeah.
better.
Lastly, like where can people learn more about you and your startup and start donating?
Yeah, and they can just go to our website, just Google share at doorstep, and you will find everything about us. Follow us on Instagram, it's SADS India, which was our earlier name, and the share at doorstep handle on Instagram.
Thanks so much, Anushka. This was an amazing conversation and wishing you all the best and looking forward to using the service
Thank
more and hopefully more people discover the startup. Thank you so much for your time.
thank you. Thanks so much. It was nice talking to you.